purpose of this module is to help you in understanding basic HTML5 commands. This module covers the following topics: HTML elements, text properties, font properties, setting margins, setting borders, inline styles. We have already discussed how to create an HTML document, save it, and view it in a web browser. In this chapter, you will learn some basic HTML commands. These will also include elements that allow you to format HTML text, that is, to change its font, size, and color. Also, we will discuss how to use inline styles. HTML elements. There are some basic HTML elements that you will need to use frequently. Let us understand them one by one. We will use CSS to style these HTML elements. There are some elements that are called deprecated elements in HTML5. For example, the center element, which centers text, is deprecated in HTML5. A deprecated element will become obsolete in the future, so its use should be avoided in the code we are writing today. Paragraph. The paragraph element P defines a paragraph in HTML. Browsers insert empty lines before and after each paragraph. A paragraph starts with the P on tag and ends with the /P off tag. Horizontal rule. The horizontal rule element, HR, defines a thematic break in an HTML page. That is, it is used to separate content in an HTML page. It is an empty element and has no end tag. The horizontal rule is used to separate paragraphs or sections in a web page. The horizontal rule is created in a new line, and the text that follows this tag is also displayed in a new line. We will use CSS to style the HR element. Headings. The heading elements tell the browser that a piece of text is a heading. The browser then displays it differently from normal text. HTML provides for 6 heading levels. Headings are container elements and are written like this: opening HN tag, followed by the heading text, and then the closing HN tag. Here, HN stands for heading number. In other words, N stands for a heading level and can take values from 1 to 6. H1 defines the most prominent heading, and H6 defines the least prominent heading. Type the following HTML code and open it in a browser. The code begins with the doc type element, followed by the HTML opening tag. Then we open the head element below, which the title of the document is defined, which here is heading element. This is followed by the style element, where the background color of the document is set to pink. The style and the head elements are then closed using their respective closing tags. The body element is opened next, and once the various heading levels are defined, we insert the closing body tag. Finally, this code set is completed by placing the HTML closing tag. See how the browser displays the different heading levels. Text properties. All elements have various properties. For example, text, font, margin, etc. All these properties have default values. These values can be changed by the person writing the code. The text properties provide you with various text formatting options that help you style text in a web page. The table below lists the various text properties along with their description, values, and a few examples. Let us discuss these properties in detail. Color property. Colors can be defined in one of the following ways: predefined color names, hexadecimal color values, RGB color values. Predefined color names such as blue, aqua, gray, maroon, yellow, etc., can be used for color specification in CSS. For example, color silver, color navy. Hexadecimal color values are specified as hash RRGGBB, where RR red, GG green, and BB blue are the components of the color, and the values must be between 00 and FF. For example, color hash FFFF00. RGB color values are specified as RGB, red, green, blue. The values for red, green, and blue should be between 0 and 255, or a percentage value from 0% to 100%. For example, color RGB 255165, color RGB 0%, 100%, 0%. Consider the following code to set the text color for various HTML elements. The above code tells the browser that the text of the HTML element, H1, should be in orange, and the text defined by the paragraph element should be in the color given by the code hash FFB6C1. Text Align property. The text align property is used to specify the horizontal alignment of text in an element. The default value is left. Consider the following code to set the text align property of different HTML elements. The above code tells the browser that the paragraph text is fully justified. Heading level 2 is center aligned. Heading level 3 is left aligned, and heading level 4 is right aligned. Text shadow property. The text shadow property applies a shadow to text. The value of this property is given as follows: text shadow : H shadow space V shadow space color, where H shadow specifies the position of the horizontal shadow. V shadow specifies the position of the vertical shadow. Color specifies the color of the shadow. For example, text shadow 4 pixels, 2 pixels, green. In the above example, 4 pixels specifies the position of the horizontal shadow, 2 pixels specifies the position of the vertical shadow, and green specifies the color of the shadow. You can specify a shadow for each HTML element separately. For example, the code below sets the text shadow property for the paragraph element, heading level 1, and for heading level 2. Here we can see that the shadow defined for the paragraph text is positioned 2 pixels to the right and 2 pixels below the original text in blue. Similarly, the H1 heading will have a shadow in red positioned 5 pixels to the right and 5 pixels below the text, while the H2 heading will have a shadow in black positioned 4 pixels to the right and 4 pixels below the text. Text transform property. The text transform property controls the capitalization of text. This property can have the values none, capitalize, uppercase, or lowercase. Consider the following code to set the text transform property for different HTML elements. The above code tells the browser that the paragraph text will appear as is. The text of heading level 1 is in title case, and the text of heading level 2 is in uppercase. Comment tag. HTML comments are not displayed by the browser. Any text placed as a comment will be ignored. You can use comments to explain your HTML code, which will help you or anyone else who reads or edits the document in the future. The comment element opens with a left angle bracket followed by an exclamation mark and 2 dashes, and is closed with 2 dashes followed by a right angle bracket. This is how you enter a comment. The comment text appears between the dashes. Bold and italics tags. The tags for marking text as bold and italics are B and I respectively. They are both container elements. For example, this text is in bold. This text is in italics. You can combine these tags. For example, if you wish to make the text both bold and italic, you can code it like this. The output will be as shown below. Font properties. Using font properties, you can change the font, size, and style of the text. Let us discuss the font property in detail. Font property. The font property is used to set all the font properties in one declaration. The font properties that can be set are the font style, the font size, and the font family. Here, font style specifies the font style for the text and can take the values normal, italic, or oblique. The default value is normal. Font size sets the size of the font. If you specify an absolute value for this property, then you can give the value in any unit, like pixels, points, etc. Font family specifies the font for the text in the HTML element. For example, font family Arial, Times New Roman. Font names are separated by commas, and if a font name consists of spaces, then it must be written within quotes. Consider the following examples that set the font properties for different HTML elements. The font properties are set within the style element. In the first case, the paragraph text is specified by an extra small font size. The font style is italic, while the font family is set to Arial. In the second case, the H1 heading is formatted in red, and the font chosen is Comic Sans MS. In the third case, the H2 heading is set in Times New Roman, the font style is oblique, and the color specified is navy. Setting margins. The margin properties are used to set the margins for an HTML element. The four margins can be set all in one go or individually. Let us learn how to do so. Margin properties. The margin property is used to set all the margins, left, right, top, and bottom, in one declaration. Consider the following examples. Margin 10 pixel, 5 pixel, 8 pixel, 12 pixel. In the above example, top margin is 10 pixel, right margin is 5 pixel, bottom margin is 8 pixel, and left margin is 12 pixel. If you write the margin property as margin 20 pixel, 15 pixel, then top and bottom margins are 20 pixel, right and left margins are 15 pixel. If we specify the margin property as margin 15 pixel, it means that all the four margins are set to 15 pixel. Click here for a setting borders. CSS allows you to set styles of the border of any HTML element. You can set the border width, border style, and border color in HTML. Note, you should specify the border style property before the border color property, as an element must have a border before you change its color. Click here for a Inline styles. Inline styles are used to apply a style to specific elements on a web page. For creating and applying inline styles, you need to add a style attribute to the HTML tag. This type of style is useful when you want to define specific styles for individual HTML elements. Consider the following HTML code to apply different styles to the word Learning HTML5. In this piece of code, you can see that 3 different inline styles specifying font size, color, text alignment, and borders have been applied for the same text, Learning HTML5. The output in the web browser will be as shown in the screenshot below.